Oh wow, that last piece gives me a big predicament because I love Georg Trakl. And I have a piece which I won't do where I take the sentence, translation is a vital art, and I spit it and speak it for about 7 minutes, so I could have done breaking it up into all its sounds. Very tempting. But there's Trakl in this. On one side of the dream is a yellow flower, an incarcerate who believes he will walk again, and on the other side a dead angel from a dead sun. Jasmine and purple inhabit the breach. On one side the green box and the child, the dodecahedron and the wind. And the inhabitants say, here's the beginning of salt water, and here the wind bounces through. In this bubble, every drunken acrobat. And the inhabitants say, oh, someone speaks to me. I do not know how to answer. I have never been talked to before. And foxes? Who, me? No. It happens a very poor hunter is present. Evening brought rain and the sky, and turned the sky to amber, the heather to blue, the grass to multicoloured rags. Ocean swelled into the silent sea, and the earth flower drank up the sun. The child walked back to the shore. Petrified steps were stamped along the railway, as if soldiers were storming a redoubt, as if a soul was storming a soul. And then the dark dance followed, as implicitly as if 4 dead angels had ridden out the storm. Does it begin with the lapse between the unrepeatable waves and the crows in the small harbour town, with the brown evening and the golden flower in the snow mountain? Does it begin with the children out hunting among the sands and the old men along the shore and the blue phantom of summer? Does it hover in the sky until the details lose their intensity and black spots appear? Do the hems split and the skirts shrink and the buttons burst off? Does it flow down with silver from the hills? Does it set out from the marble quay destined for the 3 islands in the bay on the other side of the sun? Does the ice sing where it goes? Are the visions scattered and the trials ended? Do the gentians flower in November? Is the fly in the flower of the primrose doped? Does it fall away at every edge and abyss? Are the surfaces unsure so that it plummets into the sky stained with resin? Are there lavas and auroras in the cave, or moons and jackals? Does it pick among the seaweeds from mushy insects and scratch out mollusks from the muds? Does it cast juicy starfish on the rocks? Does it collapse the groins and urge on the million waves and make stacks out of arches? Does it arise from the bench and leave for the country? Between the tomb lies a little box, green, wooden and four-sided. Between the tomb, eternity sleeps out on the roof and white clouds peck. From under the ground they sense the august light, under the wave that dances in the shade. Between the tomb lies a little box, between the tomb where eternity sleeps out on the roof. And now the dead saints need only arrive, and he will be an emissary of the lost sun. This time, haunted one, it will be done. The first smoke has followed your flickering in place of the lost sun. You are no longer human. Under gas towers and tall chimneys, to whom do they pray? 3 blind women are sat on a couch, garbed in blood-stained cloth. They sing, I dream of my son, the captured king. In the old quarters there are children crying. What allowance is there in these songs for the sparseness of ghosts? Do you hear the fireflies and the eyes of wildcats separating? The maimed king reciting the nameless rode by a forest and the moon shone clear. By shored up channels he saw their chieftain spread his fingers wide. He, the dead one, his face will glow. Petrified city, do you see the sun? Or hear the island that's growing in its seas? A litany of skies and mute treasuries among the stunned fish. How is he to bury you, sun city? Betrayer, shadow seized by evening. Your beauty haunted the flood and pursued the things we cannot know. The first creatures are past, flicker in place of the abandoned sun. Do not look at me like that. You have been where the sun captures death with fire. I forgot to say that piece was called 6 Hours and an Apology. I had a very poor joke, which I won't repeat again. The apology is that I was meant to read with Dominic Jericho, who couldn't be here, and we were going to riff on a play by the wonderful Austrian writer Austrian Etchinger, if I pronounced her name correctly, in this memoir, childhood memoir of hers called The Great Hope. But Ilse had a twin. Ilse was born in 1921, so it's just after 1st of November 1921, just after a century since her centenary of her birth, just after 5 years since the centenary of her death. She had a twin sister. Her twin sister came on a kinder transport to London in the late 30s. Ilse stayed in Vienna and survived. So there's this astonishing pool of absence and presence between her and her sister. And one of the chapters in this book is a play that they wrote during childhood. Let me just read quickly 4 or 5. This was the riff we were going to do. Our search has been too long in vain. We will not find peace anywhere. It can't be found on this earth. We've shouted. What did you say? You said, oh yes, you said. Though every one of us has searched. Who will tell us just now where peace is? I'm filled with rags and thread. I'm too weary. I'm much too weary. So we would have done something like that and it would have been better than what I did, but thank you.